different. We have a dad here. He reached out to me. He said he wanted to share his story. I felt comfortable with letting him come on and speak about some of the challenges that he experienced as a single father.
Yes.
Okay, as a single father. And yeah, we're here now. So his name is Trae. We're going to introduce Trae, and you can share with us a little bit about who you are as an individual outside of being a dad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So outside being a dad, I'm kind of like your typical kind of like fun guy, you know, to be around. I generally try to do everything that, you know, sets a role model image, you know, so anything that pertains to being positive, I try to follow that full narrative. Of course, being a basketball player.
Yeah.
You know, played college basketball, got a chance to, you know, play 3 years in college.
Wow.
So,
that's amazing. Did you enjoy?
I loved it. I loved it. I learned a lot about, you know, growing up, because you're normally at home with your mom all the time, and they send you off, you know, there's nobody to wake you up for school, there's nobody to tell you get up, you gotta go to class. So I had to learn how to be an adult, and it was a lot, but, you know, from those experiences of, you know, going to college, playing, being a college athlete, being responsible for myself, I learned a lot of how to be a man, how to conduct myself, have a strict regimen of what to do, what not to do, you know, being in the public eye. So from that molded my kind of experience of my early development on kind of like I said, being a young man to now becoming a man, to how I market myself, how I interact with people. So definitely.
That's lovely. You seem like a real reserved young man.
Oh, yes.
How many children do you have?
3.
You have 3 children?
3.
By the same?
By the same mother, yes.
Okay.
I'm scared of multiple.
I'm very afraid.
I'm terrified of that.
Now, are you and the mom like co-parenting, or you have full custody?
No, we co-parent. We do a phenomenal job with each other.
That's
we understand
wonderful.
Like it's a partnership. It's not something, you know, I did or she did. We did it together, and we understand that. So we do a great job.
Right. Well, that's wonderful. Is there a reason why I didn't work out after having 3 kids?
Yes, and I would say I would take full responsibility of that, because
okay,
you know, as a man, you gotta kind of like sit back and be like, you know, we're wrong.
Right.
You know, I think sometimes as men we don't do that. We kind of like go to the blame game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as the head of the house, you know, that leadership role, you don't want to say I messed up.
Right.
Everybody would say, well, if you didn't follow me the correct way, then, you know, but absolutely.
Yeah. No, trust me, I totally get it. So you take responsibility for why the relationship wasn't able to grow further?
Absolutely. In that sense of, because I think what it was is I got ahead of myself.
Okay.
I got ahead of myself.
Being playing basketball and having such a
absolutely.
I can see
just
that.
Like that. So you're being a basketball player, being young, educated, you know, you think, you know, I have it all. I have a beautiful partner, I have a beautiful, you know, children. You know, I got it all. So I can kind of like I can be lackadaisical now, and then what ends up happening is you start putting yourself in environments around people, and you like, hold on. Yeah. And it easily influences. So absolutely.
Yeah. I totally get it. Absolutely. So you say you were raised in New York.
Yeah. So my mother, when we were smaller, you know, she would take us back and forth to New York all the time.
Okay.
And she was raised there, come back down here, go back and forth. My mother had 4 kids, so at a point she was like, it's too much. We gotta stay in one spot. So we ended up staying out here though.
Okay, and what age were you when you moved back here to Richmond?
My mom, she brought us down here officially. We were young. My sister had to be a small child, so she probably had to be no more than like 3 or 4.
Okay, like 4 years old.
Yeah, like 4 years old. So my mom was like,
So how would you say was it for your mom raising you here in Richmond, Virginia versus New York?
It's a completely different environment. Cause my mom says, you know, it's different in the environment because you have, I guess, Southern hospitality. You hear people say, or there's kind of more like you got to be more tough early. And my mom was like, you know, you don't have to be, you know, condemned to that environment. Why, you know, put you in that environment where I can easily accelerate and you know,
and grow past that.
So.
Absolutely. Okay, so you were able to go play basketball here. You got a scholarship here in Richmond?
I got a scholarship to play in North Carolina at a Division II school.
Nice. Yes. Okay, that's beautiful. All right. So, how old are your children?
My oldest is 8. Then I have a little girl. She's 7. Then I have a little boy. He's now 5.
And what age were you when you started having children?
I had children early.
You were like...
Real early. Not too early, but early. I was like 19, 20.
Okay.
So I was young, but I was an adult too. So
right.
I was like 19, 20.
That's good. Not too bad. Because you're only 28 if you don't...
Yeah.
Right. You're very young. So how is it raising children right now at such a young age and still having to figure out your life?
It's very hard because it's certain things that's going on around them that you don't want them to be exposed to, that you don't want them to know, and you still want to keep their purity and their innocence. So you kind of like shield them from it. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, how do I show y'all this without overexposing y'all? Because eventually they will get older. Right. They will.
I'm sorry, the mics went off.
Do I need to adjust my?
Just click it. Like hold it for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Hope they're not dead. Okay. Sorry.
Long as we got that taken care of. It just like I said, just trying to like keep their innocence and their purity. Yeah. For the most part.
Absolutely, because children these days would definitely expose other children to things that they're not ready for.
They're not ready for, absolutely.
Right. And a lot of these kids know things that, again, they're not ready for.
Yeah.
And does that worry you?
That worries me a lot because now you sometimes we over focus
on like you said, I think sometimes we over focus on the adults. Yeah. And kids groom other kids nowadays. Yeah. And kids indoctrinate other kids nowadays. So like I said, you got some kids who unfortunately their parents are not, advising them properly, and what they do is they get influenced by outside things like TikTok and entertainment and music, and before you know that, they showing your kids that. Yeah. And I don't necessarily, me personally, I don't show my kids
anything on social media.
Yeah, I don't get into all that just because it's so everything's hypersexualized. Everything's shake your hips and I'm like, yo. My daughter still think this is dancing, so I'm like, I'm like, most you think that's dancing, baby, please. But it's just the kids now. You got to watch the kids so more so than the adults now. So
you really
it is scary.
And like you said, some of the dances do be very sexual for children. And I'm just like, why do we normalize stuff like this?
Exactly.
Why do we think it's okay for our children to grow up and be singing Cardi Red?
Oh my gosh!
I said Cardi Red, Cardi B, and Sexy Red. Why do we? Yeah, it is. It very much is, because their job is not to just display music, but it's to influence and program children into thinking that they are supposed to be that way.
And that's
be
scary.
Masculine. The women are supposed to be masculine.
And it's scary because I'm like, why we, like you said, we normalize it and it becomes so normal. It's like when you tell somebody, hey, don't do that, then it's abnormal to correct them, and then it becomes a problem. It's like, yo, you shouldn't be doing that
from the start.
From the start, it shouldn't even be an adjustment thing. You shouldn't be doing that, but it's scary.
So how do you keep your 8-year-old away from social media platforms?
Me and his mother do a great job, and I would commend his mother also on monitoring them. So a lot of things as far as like what they observe, what they watch, what they what they consume. And I'm not necessarily talking about the nutritional part, but also from the visual and the optic part. Yeah. What they see, we monitor it. So if you want to watch a show, or you want to listen to a song, or you want to watch something, let me watch it first. Yeah. And if I deem, hey, that's a little weird, or hey, I don't like that, we cut that off. We don't even do it. But if
that's wonderful.
But if it's good, then we let it rock out.
You don't have a lot of parents that like work together in that type of way to make sure their children. I think parents are so infatuated on, I need a break, or I need time to myself. So I'm gonna just let you do whatever you want to do on the tablet because I want to go smoke or I want to drink.
No, really, and sometimes you need a break, but. I say, like if you leave your children to the world, then the world will show your children what not to be. Yes. And unfortunately, once they get, kind of like swallowed up in the world, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that's so true. It does. It takes a lot to pull them back out.
Absolutely.
It's too much to pull them back, especially if they don't have both parents in their life, so it can definitely be hard. Okay. I know you said that, what is the relationship like between you and your mom?
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
My mom is that's my guy. I mean, she's a woman, but that's my girl.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal. She plays a major part in my development as a man as well as a father, because she instilled into me, you absolutely have to break the generational curses. So, you have to set the tone. You have to conduct yourself in a manner, from your speech to how you interact, engage with individuals, the environments you put yourself in, to, what you learn. You have to do that, because if you don't, you will have people behind you who will admire you for the wrong reasons. So she made sure she did.
Do you feel the pressure on when she say you have to break generational curses?
I do.
How does that make you feel, in having to be like a father and still growing up yourself?
Absolutely.
And taking care of your kids?
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, because it's like, if I don't do it right, it should be, she frown upon me. But at the same time, I look at it like, she wouldn't bestow that role on me if she didn't think I could handle it.
Yeah.
So I absolutely, embarked on the journey. I took it for what it's worth. And I'm like, you know what? If my mom think I could do it, can't nobody tell me I can't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
Absolutely.
What about your father? Was your father around?
My father, unfortunately, wasn't. But he was very active. He was very active. And that's why I know I spoke to you. I told you there's a difference between being present and being active.
Yes.
So it's a big difference.
Yes.
He was very active, though.
He was active, but he wasn't present. So can you elaborate a little bit on how he was more active versus present?
Absolutely. So unfortunately, my father was in prison. But he did a phenomenal job, making sure he wrote me every week. He called me every week. He made sure that he kept in contact with me. Anytime I'll probably say from time I was 6 all the way till I was like 18.
Yeah.
She would take me every weekend to see my father. So he was very active. Like, hey, make sure you're reading this, make sure you're doing this, make sure you study yourself, make sure you, learn your environment, make sure he did everything he could, unfortunately, from where he was at, to make sure he stayed active. Present, of course, wasn't present because he was incarcerated, but that's what I was talking about, that being present.
Absolutely.
He wasn't there to show me how to conduct myself.
Right.
As a man, how to properly, like I said, engage with individuals, how to know my environment, how to properly engage in different groups and peer groups.
And just the important things like being at your games,
absolutely,
and supporting you with like your sport.
Absolutely. So, that idea of support and caring, so he couldn't be present.
Was he still locked up?
No, he's currently he's out.
So he was locked up since you were a kid
all the way till I was like 23, 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's just
just getting out.
Yeah.
He's just getting out. He's just experiencing the world.
Are y'all like working on a relationship now that he's like out of prison now?
Yeah, we have a great relationship.
Okay,
we always had a great relationship because he's always, like I say, he was always active.
Yeah.
Now he's finally get a chance to be present.
Right.
But of course, I'm a man now, so it's different.
What about his grandkids? He's excited.
He loves his grandkids. Loves his grandkids.
That's beautiful.
He kind of it's kind of like his second chance. So he's like, I don't get that,
Right.
So I encourage him very heavily. Hey, even though you missed out once, this is your blessing to do it again. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So do you feel like when he was incarcerated, he had an influence over your life?
Absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely.
That's good. Was it because even though he was still locked up, you still respected him?
I still respected him. I still respected him because at the end of the day, when he got incarcerated, he was a kid. So you being a kid, unfortunately, he didn't have the mother I had. My mother made sure, hey, you can't do this. You can't do that.
Right.
If you do this, this will be the result.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my grandmother didn't, they didn't do that with him. So he kind of could run free in the streets and do whatever he want. My mother was like, no. Yeah, she was like, no. She was like, no. So that kind of like, that's where that term I was telling you, like, you have to break the generational curse. You can't follow his footsteps. You have to beat those odds.
Do you feel like now that you have, like, the spotlight is on you to break this curse, you feel like you have to install these into you have two boys, one girl?
2 boys, 1 girl.
You feel like you have to install this?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, every day.
Every day.
Every day. It's like a pep talk, before their mother does the same thing with them. But every day it's a pep talk. Every day it's a pep talk. Hey, You gotta make sure you do this. You know,
Yeah.
everything aligns with your integrity, your character, you know, your dignity, you know, what you do when no one's looking, what you do when you're in the public eye.
Right.
So everything is like constant every day.
Every day. Wow. That's beautiful though, because you don't have a lot of parents that care that much about breaking generational curses for one, and just installing those type of morals and values into their children, because it's already hard enough trying to maintain the household being single parents. So it's like the last thing that I have on my mind is teaching my child the right
and wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So do you feel like because you are like a single father, like resources are limited to you when it comes to like trying to take care of your children?
I do, but I don't. And more so I don't because I have a great support system.
Yes.
You know, my mother's phenomenal. Their mother's phenomenal.
Right.
So I never really worried about having that, kind of like having that.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, whatever I can't do to my physical ability or my financial capability, I do have that support. So I never was worried about that.
That's good. So in what way do you feel like resources aren't available?
I think kind of like having that open space of comfortability when it comes to mental health.
Yes.
I think, you know, a lot of times, and I could be wrong, but I think a lot of times we, you know, kind of like pander to the mother, like, hey, you know, let's give them a break. But sometimes it's hard being a dad because we already have this stigma that we're not present or we're not active or we're not this.
Right.
And then when you do see those guys, you're like, oh, well, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm like, no, this is hard for me too. It's hard for me too, you know.
You feel like you don't get enough respect or enough, you know, because like you said, people overlook it when you say you are an active father. They're just like, oh yeah,
but you should be doing that. That's your kids. You should be taking care of your kids. You know, and I'm like, no, this is hard for me too. You know, it's hard because you got to make sure, like I said, that standard you set for your children can never lower. Because the moment you lower it, the moment they feel like they can lower their standards.
Is it harder raising the boys or is it harder raising your daughter? Because with your daughter, you have to make sure that she's
Absolutely.
It's
scary raising a little girl. It's scary raising a little girl. It is terrifying.
Yes.
And I know you get testified at raising a little girl. It's terrifying.
I have a teenager, so it's completely different.
It is terrifying. It's terrifying. I can wait to the teenager part. Oh my gosh, I can wait.
So the boys, you feel like you could.
I'm a little stern on them. Okay. I'm a hard on them.
But the little girl,
I ease up on her, but I'm hard on her too. Yeah. And I do that because I don't want her ever to create this this idea. I don't want her of victimizing herself. Yeah. Like I don't want her ever look at her brothers and be like, I can't do that because they're a boy, or you know, I can't do this because I'm not a boy, or I don't have that physical stature or capability or athleticism. I told my daughter, you know, I'm gonna hold you to expectation. I hold your brothers to. Yeah. Because I don't ever want you to feel like you're not up to their par standards. So you can do anything a man can do. You can do anything your brothers can do. So I'm hard on her too because I don't ever want her to think less of herself. Right, and that's very important. Absolutely. You know, to make your daughter feel and you just being in her life is like the biggest piece of it all, of her doing the right thing, because she like, oh, I grew up with my dad. My dad didn't put up with this. Yeah. My dad don't play that. Yeah. My dad didn't let me have TikTok and all of those other things. So do your kids ask to be on social media? Never. They don't even, we don't even social media. Wow. No, my mother, you know, their grandmother, you know, they do little filter, you know, like take picture filters, stuff like that. But as far as like actively being on social media, I don't know. And your support system sticks to that. They stick to that. Mom is heavily on that. Wonderful. My mom is heavily on that because the internet is so... It's cruel. It's cruel. You know what I'm saying? It's cruel. And then on top of it, it's so much things on the internet that once you're exposed to, you know, your brain takes a picture of it. Right. And it's there forever. That's it. Wow. Well, that's good. Y'all do an amazing job at not exposing them to these false realities. Absolutely. That's what it is, false realities. So what challenges do you face when it comes to like mental health and raising your children? Challenges I often face is kind of like having that idea of like, am I doing enough? Will I ever be doing enough? Will I ever be putting them in a position of success where financially they're taken care of when I'm gone, or putting them in a position where, you know, if something ever happened to me, will they be taken care of? Will somebody raise them the way I raised them? Or, you know, because at the end of the day, no one's gonna raise
your kids like yourself.
Like you're gonna do it. So I often worry about that. I often worry about am I instilling to my daughter, you know, the right things? Because I'm not a woman. You know what I'm saying? So I can't teach her certain things. I can't show her certain things, certain experiences in her life that only women can teach, you know. So am I doing this the right way with her? Am I too hard on her? You know?
Do you feel like you're being hard on yourself when you think of all of these?
I do. I am devil's advocate, so I do look in the mirror and be like, no, you know. So but it's kind of like that's also the motivation behind it, because like if I don't push me, who's gonna push me?
Right.
So it does play hand in hand, like, you know, myself.
Right. You have to be, you know, it's important that you recognize if you are or if you aren't. But again, I feel like just being in their life and being active and present and installing these wonderful boundaries and boundary, I forgot what I was going to say. You know, installing all the boundaries and morals that you have for them is like setting them up to continue to be great kids, phenomenal children to you. Your children are gonna make you very proud.
Absolutely, and that's another thing, like you said, just like those boundaries and morals. Like, when I install those, are you gonna carry those on when I'm not around? Do you still have that when I'm not around? And that's kind of like the biggest thing. So my mom, I think the greatest compliment my mom gets is, "Oh, your mom raised your mom did a good job." So knowing, can I get that same compliment from my kids 20 years later, 30 years later? Hey, you know, whoever raised you did a good job. You know, so it's little things like that would honestly play.
Are you afraid that they're gonna like? Let me ask you this: do you feel like you've set them up for success so much that you wouldn't be able to handle if one of them was, quote unquote, say a disappointment?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where I play that kind of like that mental thing, because like I did everything you asked. You know, I made sure I put you in this position, put you in this environment, put you in this peer group, I put you in. You know, I did everything. How would you still fall to the wayside? You know. And so things like that do bother me, because at the end of the day, they're going to live their own life. And you know, so it's kind of like, what can I do if they do that?
Will, like, if that happens, not saying not wishing it on
absolutely,
you.
But it's life. Things can happen all the time. Absolutely.
If it does happen, you say you have one kid that just is a complete turnaround from what it is that you raised them to be, will you be ready to help them in that mental?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Because fatherhood, that doesn't go out the window. You know, I still gotta be a dad. You know, at the end of the day, but it's kind of like, you know, what can I do to help you? You know, or what can I do to steer you from this?
Right.
And if I can't, then are you ready for the consequences that come behind this? Because everything comes with consequences.
Everything.
So if you are ready to take on this lifestyle or this decision or whatever the case may be, are you ready for it?
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Because oftentimes I feel like a lot of people give up on their children because they're like, oh, I raised him to be this and that and that.
Absolutely.
And if they aren't any of these expectations that they have for them, they kind of give up on them and just throw them out there even more.
I've definitely seen that.
Yeah.
Many times. Yeah. Like, just give up, or because they're not what they were planned to be. And I'm like, are you still their dad? Are you still their mom?
Yeah.
That doesn't change things.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing also next to that is my mom always put in my head, you are a reflection of me.
Yeah.
So anything you do in the public eye, you know, I thank my mom, thank you, Mom, you know.
Yeah.
That you're a reflection of me.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a reflection of me. She actually follows you, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she does.
Okay.
She follows you, so.
Hey, Mom.
But she always put that you're a reflection of me, so everything you do, you know, they're going to say, that's Davon's son.
Yeah.
So it's going to come back to her.
Yeah, exactly. How are they in school when it comes to like school and like you don't have any concerns?
Oh, no.
Are you like homeschooling them?
Oh, no, they go to a private school.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
School, yeah.
That's good. So do you feel like you had any challenges when it came to financially providing for your children?
No, I've always had good jobs, and I've always strived to have good jobs because I know I have somebody who depends on me.
Right.
So it's not I fail, they fail. Right. So I always put myself in position, you know, whether it was educationally or it was through, you know, finding those right people to connect with to put me in position to be able to take care of my children.
Right. Okay, that's good. That's good. So you also said that you wanted to talk about the struggles that you faced when it came to the corrupted world and raising your children in such like a corrupted life.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your intake on that?
Intake on that is it's very scary because you know now it wasn't like it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where you could get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, run around the neighborhood with your friends, and come back at 8 o'clock at night,
right?
And it'd be fine. Now it's so much, and I don't mean to offend anybody or anything like that, but it's so much stuff in the world. Like from
you can say it. It's safe.
Okay. I just want to make sure I don't want to offend nobody, but it's so much like this LGBT stuff. It's so much of this this trans stuff. It's so much of this kind of like indoctrinating children. It's so heavy on that.
It is.
And hypersexualizing of children at such an early age. And I'm like, yo, it's scary because and I know at the end of the day I can't shield them from the world. I can't do anything about it. So that's the thing I'm terrified about.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's not the adults you need to focus on. It's the children now.
It is.
We're exposing children to other things and sexualizing children and because they're exposed to things. Yeah. So it's nothing you could do about it. But it's like I said, the corruption of the world of like they said through the music, the Cardi B's, the sexy reds, the twerking your hips. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, it's way too much.
It's way too much.
Just they aren't able to be kids
anymore. No.
They feel like they have to be adults.
Adults. Yeah, absolutely.
They can't just they worry about when we expose our children to this type of music, these type of celebrities, LBGT.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
We make them feel like they have this pressure of being something that they don't have to be.
They don't have to be. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it stresses them out. Like they should
not
be worried. Yeah.
Kids be stressed. I'm like, I used to stress. The kids be stressed.
Yeah, they really do. They should not have to worry about any of the stuff that's going on in the world because we should be able to protect them from them as best as we can.
Absolutely.
But when we put them out there to see it all, they're like, this affects me too.
This affects me too, absolutely.
Yeah. So I definitely get what you're saying. Like, is there any worries about any of your kids like being in LBGT?
Oh, absolutely not. Okay. They know that's they absolutely. Me and their mom are heavy on it.
Yeah.
Because we heavy on it. Just because like it's kids. Like me personally, like I said, to be sexually attracted to something. You still learning your ABCs, son. Yeah. Like your dog, you still learning how to tie your shoe. How you like this? And I tell people all the time, like to have a sexual orientation means you're sexually driven to that.
Yeah.
You still like how do you have that?
Right.
So like I said, it's the indoctrinating the children that make me scared of the world because like I said, it's so corrupted through music, through entertainment, through like I said, social media. Everything is just so pushed.
It is.
And I'm like, you don't have to do that to children.
Just all in your face. It's like
absolutely.
You can't even ignore it. It's not a time where I get on Facebook and I feel like, what are these people talking about? Everybody is talking about the same
thing. Yeah. Fighting, violence, sex,
celebrities fighting over celebrities.
And I'm like, what's going on? Like, yo, just mind your business, man. Just go home, mind your business.
For real. So. And you can only imagine what that household is like when the children are in there listening to all of the chaos about it when their parents are speaking on it.
Absolutely.
So I definitely would say good job at just, making sure they are not into social media, not into, just lustful activities.
And that's the biggest thing. Having little girls.
Yeah. Having boyfriend, girlfriends. Oh my gosh. Stuff. Yeah.
And it's scary. Like when my kids were younger, like I want to say like one. Soon as they got one, we would play. Their mother and I would play. Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, India Arie. We play music like that because we want them to understand this is music.
Right.
It has actual meaning. It has substance. It has. Right. This is music, not bow, bow. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what that is.
I'm looking for the horse.
You like, yo, like, what's going on? But you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it had that soulful touch, and I was like, yo, I could not imagine.
Yeah. That's the type of music. Yeah, that's the type of music that I play around the house. I can't clean up.
You
You become so dysfunctional listening to that crap every day.
Every single day. You got some people who can't function without that music.
Oh my God. Like, I'm talking about they wake up
early in the morning. You brushing your teeth to Cardi B. You brushing your teeth to Young Thug and Moneybag. How you trapping and you didn't brush your teeth this morning, man?
And people wonder why they have the spirit of violence.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah, the spirit of lust, like it's being put into you.
Absolutely. And music is a very influential thing.
It is.
It's the most common thing. Like that's the most worldly influence is music.
It really is. So let me ask you this: do you and your children's mother incorporate like God into
absolutely? Their mother is heavy.
Is she a Christian?
She is a Christian.
Okay.
She is a Christian.
Are you a Christian?
So I am a Christian. I grew up. My father is Muslim. So I grew up learning both sides.
Nice.
And practiced both faiths growing up.
Yeah.
But until I met their mother, kind of like leaned more towards one side.
Yeah.
Just because they, Islam and Christian, it clashes in some areas. So.
Yeah. So you were open to
absolutely, absolutely
going on the other side.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
would you say that you're still a Christian or?
I would say so because I dissect it more.
Yeah.
So before I judge or before I do anything like that, because they're very similar, but they clash in certain ways. So, with their mother doing that, I don't ever want my children to see me and their mother clash religions. Or fighting about it, or hey, this is what I believe, this is what you believe.
Right.
I tell my children, hey, this is the tone we're setting.
Yeah.
Then follow it. So, our children grow to a Christian private school.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, so they God is very, very incorporated.
Yeah. Okay, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
I love that. You are raising them right.
Yeah. That pressure, like I told you, that pressure's on. Yeah, the pressure's on.
So when it comes to challenge, I think I asked you that. I asked you about the relationship with your mom. Let's see what I have on the back. I think I asked you that as well. The challenges that you face when it comes to raising your children and only being 28 and trying to figure it all out for yourself, having to work. You work like a full-time job.
Yes.
How is that, like working for a full-time job and having to be like an active father all the time?
It gets hard. And like I said, that also plays in that kind of like that mental health space because my more worried about their success in the long term,
right? More
than making memories with them now.
Yeah.
And that kind of worries me because they don't spell love the way we spell love. They spell love Time. Yeah. They spell it in the presence of what they're doing, how active you are, how much of a participant you are in their activities. So am I financially setting them up and taking away from their memories? Because that's what I worry about as a father.
Yeah.
What's the best way I can set them up so they don't have to worry about anything?
Yeah.
But also, am I making them laugh enough?
Yeah.
When they're 15, 16 years old, can they say, y'all remember when dad did this? Or y'all remember when dad did that? Or man, y'all remember when dad fell down? So am I creating enough of those memories for them to last forever?
Right.
Because eventually, my name would be their name. My name will only be carried on from the words they say. So I worry about the memories. Absolutely.
Are you ready for them to transition into those teenage years?
I know. No.
Nobody wants teenagers.
I just want like kids and adults. Kids and adults. That's all I want.
Skip the adolescence, huh?
Skip all that. I just want just give me that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can just hit the fast forward button in my life.
Right.
That's what you do. And I'll be happy with that.
What's the worry of them being a teenager?
Kind of like that. You kind of like let them go. In a sense, you kind of let them go.
Right.
Because there's no more in a sense of controlling them.
Yeah.
I kind of like, and I hate to say the word controlling them, but if I condition them enough and, in the things I've taught them, they will still carry it on. But it's kind of like you said, when they go out with your friends, you know how it is. When you go out with your friends, you like, back your mind, my mom better not find out I did this, but I'm going to have fun, So it's kind of like, you kind of like freedom to the world and hopefully what they indulge in is not too corrupting or it's not too indulging where it jeopardizes it. Absolutely.
That freedom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the little things I worry about, stuff like that.
Do you feel like when they are teenagers, because at this point when they become teenagers, you're just a listening ear.
Yeah, you're just a listening ear. You just that little cricket, that little image that pop up like that. Hey, somebody can tell you, you know what I'm saying?
You're like, you transition from teaching them and coaching them to just listening. To them. Like, are you opening to hearing, even if it's crazy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's something I really, really, and their mamas too, we're really big on being not only intellectually connected to our children, emotionally connected. Like, you could tell me anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about anything. And that's what I do with my sons, especially my daughter.
Right.
But more so my sons at times, just because I coach them more logically.
Right.
You know, hey, any situation you come in contact with, make sure you logically assess it. And then before you because if you emotionally assess it, you're gonna crash out. You're gonna do something dumb. Same thing with my daughter. I make, hey, logically assess this. And then, because little girls are little girls. So you're at the end of the day, you're a girl. Yeah. You're gonna have that hint of emotion that drives you a little bit. So I told my daughter, hey, logically you can't do this, So emotionally, we do encourage them. They talk to me, chat with me.
Come to me first.
Yeah, come to me first. If you do it, at the end of the day, you're gonna do it because you got to experience life. But ask me first. And if you feel like you want to experience that still, go do your thing.
That's good, because I was reading in the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where they talk about how our kids want to come to us first before they even go to their peers.
Absolutely.
But sometimes we get into these lecture modes.
I know I do. I know I do.
And we miss out on them being able to feel comfortable with sharing certain things. So
I definitely know I do. I'm like, hey, if I
find out.
I find out. Yeah, well, you tell me now, because I found out. I'm really for you, so I know I do for sure. My mom can testify that, because I'm like, I'm like right there with them every day. So
what type of discipline techniques do you use for your children?
So with my children, it's very hard, because it's like I don't ever want to raise my hand to my children unless it's absolutely called for.
Right.
So if they ever put themselves in danger, or they ever put their siblings in danger, that's the only time I feel as I should raise my hand to my children.
Okay. Right.
So you should never. I'm not a big fan of just be whooping your children, slapping your children. I'm not into that.
Okay.
But I think I speak to them in such a stern way that
they get it.
They get it. Yeah. Like they know when it's hey, I mean, he ain't gonna do nothing. And then it's like, oh, he's not drill, y'all. This is for real. He's coming. So.
Do you yell?
I will yell. Okay. I will kind of like set that tone of this is not a game,
Okay. It's not a game.
It's not a game. I really don't push me there. But you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I set the tone so they know what's off limits, what's on limits. But I think I do so well, and I try to make sure with my mother and their mother as well that disappointment will hurt them more so than physically hurting them. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense. Kind of like
it's a natural consequence.
If my son ever told me, "Hey, Dad, I did this," and my disappointment alone would hurt him.
Okay.
Would break him down versus me putting my hands on him or popping him or anything like that. Like
because they care. They care about what we think, we feel about them. Oh man, don't let them think you don't love them.
You don't love them no more, right? Oh, Dad's mad at Dad's mad at me now, so I can't. So it's I try not to ever raise my hand to nobody. I do discipline them very sternly. Very, very sternly.
Okay, that's wonderful. I truly enjoy hearing your perspective on raising your children, because, like you said, like it's so corrupted where. We think there's not a lot of good fathers out here.
Absolutely, that's a lot of good fathers out here. They just don't
just don't pick the good ones.
Absolutely, we just don't pick the good ones. We don't shine a light on the good ones, and then oftentimes, like I said, fathers are looked at like you're supposed to take care of your children. Yeah, and you know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, you if y'all come across you and you don't take care of your children, it's the last time you ever see me. But I feel as though like you're supposed to take care of your children. So, like you said, it's the stigma that. I guess black men don't take care of their children. Yeah. And I know a lot of good guys that take care of their children. Absolutely. A lot of good guys.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. You heard it from him. There are a lot of men that take care of their children. So we can stop calling all of them deadbeats.
Yeah. There's some deadbeats out there. Yeah. Y'all know them, I know them, but it's a lot of good guys out there that take care of their children that are very active, very present in their children's life. Like I said, unfortunately, due to stigma, like I said, of social media, music, it's kind of like
Right.
We don't, but it's a lot of good black men that take care of their children.
Yeah, I feel like all of that stuff is kind of like a distraction.
It's a distraction,
from what's actually going on behind the scenes with fathers and things like that. Because, like you said, they do a lot to try to take them out of the household.
And that's another thing. Like there's so many incentivized things that are given, and not only just to black women, but just in general to women in general. Hey, if you take the father out, oh, we'll give you this, and we'll do this for you, and government assistance this, and and don't get to it. If you need it, absolutely take advantage of it.
Right.
But it's some people who they rather do that with Uncle Sam than even if you have a terrible relationship, find some type of compromising way where you can take care of your children.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, is there anything else you would like to share that you didn't get a chance to share?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if I had to share anything, it'd definitely be all men out there who have children, who have fathers, whether you're active, whether you're present, or whether you're doing both.
Yeah.
Every day, just please be involved in your children's life.
Yeah.
Be involved in your children's life as to the full capacity that you can. I know everybody doesn't have the financial capability. Everybody might not have the physical capability. Some people might not have the mental capability, because I know it is hard. Yeah. I mean, like I said, you can testify as a mother. It's hard, But if I can say anything, please be there for your children, because you never know, your child could be the next Michael Jordan or LeBron James if you just took that time. Yeah, took that time, and I'm telling you.
I love that. So what would be your advice to a father that wants to be in their kid's life, but they haven't been so long that they don't know how to build that relationship?
My advice with them is little things at a time. Yeah. Don't try to ambush them with, I'm your dad, so I can, I can
get your butt.
Don't do that, yo. Don't do that, because they go look at you like, son, get out of here. So they're like, I don't know you, man.
Right,
but,
you ain't my dad.
You ain't my dad. I ain't my dad. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely say, it's the little things. Little things that matter. Like, talk. Same thing if you were building a friendship. Building a relationship between a friend and building that good rapport. Talk to them. Learn your children, because your children develop every day where they have to be learned. My children, I'm learning them every day, because constantly they're growing, they're changing. Right. So if you're out your child's life for a long time, take that time to learn them. Take that time to build that good rapport with them. Yeah. Take that time to, do little things that it takes to build their trust. Yeah. Because
it does take, it's a process.
It's a process, absolutely.
And you got to be able to be patient with yourself and the child as you're relearning who they are, because you lost so much time.
Exactly.
But I am a firm believer that no matter how much time you have lost, there's still hope.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's still hope for a relationship.
Time lost is time lost, but you can always make up time.
Yeah, you really can. It's going to take hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work. Yeah. No, just think you're just gonna come up in there and just win them over.
That's exactly how it goes. You're not gonna do that. If anything, you're gonna distance yourself from them, because, like I said, they don't know you. Right. So, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on, sharing your journey and your experience of being a hardworking father that's doing his best to raise his children different from this generation that we're actually in right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I want to take time to thank you for allowing me to, like I said, reach out to you, giving me this opportunity to be on your platform. Yeah. Because, like I said, I see the things you do, and I see the stories that you, let be told, and even your story. I was looking at your story before I came over here, and I was like, wow, to overcome the things you overcame as a mother, and like I said, to now continue to further yourself that's a wonderful thing. So shout out to you.
Well, thank you.
Because that's it. Like I said, it truly takes a village.
Yeah, it really does. To raise children. It really does. Can you let people know where they can find you on like social media if you're open to it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you want to find me on Instagram, I'm just an Instagram guy. I've got 30 things like now. So I'm just Instagram that, live the hoop _12. You can follow me. Like everything you see on my page is, like I said, it's father based. You'll see my children, you'll see the activities I do. Yeah. Like I'm a big believer on what you promote, what you advertise, and what you market. Yeah. Not only as yourself as a person, is what you will draw attention to. And,
that's true. I feel like you're I hate to say it, but your what you post on social media, as far as like your content,
absolutely,
and stuff, people judge you.
People judge you based off that. Yeah. So if you posting, like
naked
I'm saying,
pictures,
you
and
know
stuff,
what I'm saying?
I don't even follow women like that.
And I'm glad you don't.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't have nothing.
You got nothing going on. You sit on, you sync half your pictures. You out here turned around. You flash your money. Like, if that's what you want to promote, by all means, do your thing. Yep. I'm not gonna knock you, but if you go to my page and like people pages like ours, that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see positive and stuff like that.
Very, so very positive. I've seen a lot of your basketball stuff too.
Absolutely.
Is that something you could see yourself getting back into?
Yeah. I just of course, being a father, I don't have time to do so, but when times I do, I incorporate my children into it. My children just played their second season of basketball, so I'm trying to push them without forcing them into it. But so absolutely, definitely.
Wonderful. Well, look, y'all heard it. You got his information where you could. I don't know if anybody can reach out to him, so don't. Unless they want coaching, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, he does do coaching. So if somebody is open to be like, hey, I want my kids to.
Absolutely, I do coaching. So if you ever want to help your child develop basketball wise, or just if you're a father and you want to talk, get your kids together, kind of like put you on the right path to to steer you in what the direction you need to do to either be a part of your child's life or kind of like enhance that relationship you have with your child.
Yes,
by all means.
That's beautiful, and I'm glad you're open to helping other dads kind of pave that way for them, to be comfortable to be like, hey man, I did this, or
absolutely,
being vulnerable about your situation. So that's great.
Absolutely, there's no such thing as a perfect parent.
At all.
There's no such thing as a perfect parent. We all got flaws. So
yeah, we definitely do.
Let's help the next man, help the next woman, help the next woman. So
well, listen, if you like this video, make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Please.